What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back in. Steve, Detroit Den through and three, solo today. Will's working, unfortunately. It's very rare that him and I get days off together. When we do, it's always a pleasure to get on here and hop on and do some Detroit Lions content for you guys. But we will have a joint episode out tonight when he's off work and finished coaching football. I just had to get on here and talk about some things. Mondays suck. Mondays. Absolutely. I don't know a single person in the universe that enjoys a Monday, but when the Detroit Lions win, it's a little bit more enjoyable. That's not the case on this Monday either. It's been a nasty, ugly Monday. Nothing tastes good. Didn't sleep good. I'm not having a good day. The Lions lost yesterday. And then the first thing I see when I roll my body out of bed and my little eyes open is that the Philadelphia Eagles just keep making moves. They just keep making moves, and that's fine. This episode is not going to be about keeping up with the Philadelphia Eagles. They can do what they need to do. I get it. They're aggressive. They're trading for everyone. They won a Super Bowl. They want to win another one. Brad Holmes, you have to be in that same mindset. You have to be in that mindset of winning a Super Bowl. This is a year that I'm not just throwing away. This is not a year that I've lost faith in. I'm not questioning whether or not we can win the Super Bowl. I still think that this team is more than capable with the skill position players, but we need some help. I don't think that's even a hot take. This team can win a Super Bowl. This is a chance within the next a little bit more than 24 hours from now is trade deadline. We have to make a move. Not being buyers would be absolutely criminal, and I'm going to start questioning a lot of things if we don't make a move. I'm not saying go out and trade for Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby or any of those top elite guys that are just floating around on everyone's mind that are pipe dreams. I'm not saying make a blockbuster trade where we give up 3 first-rounders and we bring in the best pass rusher. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not on that boat at all. But I need Kevin Zeitler back in a Detroit Lions uniform tonight. I need Kevin Zeitler back in a Detroit Lions uniform tomorrow at the absolute latest. Got to bring him home. Got to bring Kevin Zeitler home. I thought it was criminal that we didn't re-sign him this past offseason, and this has nothing to do with how Mahogany has played, but it has everything to do with Mahogany's injury. He's out for a long time. They didn't call it a season-ending injury, but I'm hearing reports that it's going to be late December. Newsflash, that's pretty much the rest of the season. So I need a starting caliber, high-end offensive guard in this offense within the next 2 business days. It's got to happen. And if it's not Kevin Zeitler, if there's another name out there, fine. But Kevin Zeitler is just a name that we're familiar with. We never should have let him leave town. We 1,000% should have re-signed him. When me and Will did a free agency show at the end of last season, we had a conversation about who is the number 1 free agent that's on the team that we needed to bring back. My guy was Kevin Zeitler. You have to keep this offensive line intact for Jared Goff. If you need any more proof that Jared Goff needs an elite offensive line, go watch yesterday's game again, because I had to sit through that shit again. It wasn't fun to watch in person. After I put the baby to bed, hung out with the wife for a little bit, had to come up into the office and do a little homework. And what I saw from that offensive line was throw the tape out. Let's just try to forget that it didn't happen, but it did. It was the worst performance I've seen from the Detroit Lions since week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. It's only week 9. So what I call that is inconsistency against the Bears, the Browns, the Buccaneers, the Bengals. Offensive line looked great. It's not dominant, but Jared Goff needs better protection. And I get it. I'm not a fan of what John Morton did yesterday. A lot of people want his job. They want him to be fired. I'm not going to tell you that you're out of your mind or that you're nuts, but I'm not on board with firing yet. But I feel like that seat's going to start to heat up a little bit if we don't see some stuff. So how do I fix this? I have to help John Morton out a little bit if I'm Brad Holmes. How can I help him? You're not going to be able to run the ball. You're not going to be able to pass the ball. You're not going to be able to attack deep in the passing game if, first and foremost, Jared Goff is under pressure, if he's under extreme pressure, which is what was happening yesterday. So how do I fix that? I got to bolster up this offensive line. Mahogany essentially done for the year. I need a guard. Right now within these next 2 days. All the last week, I tried to do solo shows on some trade talks. I love thinking about who we're going to add to this roster, who's going to help. I've mentioned some DBs. I've mentioned some edge rushers. I've never put out an offensive lineman until I saw Mahogany get hurt yesterday, and I'm reading the reports and seeing what's going on. It's a need. If the offensive line is being questioned now, and I have to throw Coyote Awosika in there for the rest of the season, essentially, that's find the fish guy. That's where teams are going to be attacking us. Can he hold up? I don't know that I have an answer to that question. I just know that I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out if Coyote Awosika is the guy that's going to be the glue that fixes this offensive line. If I were a betting man, I would say probably not. I need the best possible guard. Kevin Zeitler's contract. Why I don't know what we offered him in the offseason, but he signed with the Tennessee Titans, 1 year, $9 million deal. This is literally the definition of a rental piece until next year, because I don't know how much football Kevin Zeitler's got in him. I think he's 34, 35 years old. I don't know how much more he's got in him. This to me would be the definition of a rental. And if he wants to keep playing, we can have that conversation in the offseason, but we never should have let him get out of the building. And I get it. The free agency happened before the draft, and maybe that kind of handcuffed Brad Holmes with Tate Ratledge, who has played phenomenal. I'm not knocking any of the moves that he made in the draft, but I feel like the draft strategy shifted with the retirement of Frank Ragnow and letting a Pro Bowl guard out the door within the same 6 weeks. That's hard to replace. Two players of that caliber is going to handicap your team no matter what. All right. It's virtually impossible to replace a Pro Bowl center and a Pro Bowl guard with two kids who have essentially like a handful of starts with Mahogany last year, and then drafting Ratledge. I think it'll pay huge dividends a couple years from now, but this is a team that's trying to win right now. We talk about the window. I don't know what the window looks like, guys. I don't know what the Super Bowl window looks like. I don't know how long it stays open. I don't think it's closed. I definitely don't think it's closed, but good teams make moves to make themselves better. All right. If you want to be a team that's just in the mix, just a team that's in the conversation of a Super Bowl, keep doing what we're doing. If you want to win a Super Bowl, got to do something somewhere along the lines of what the Eagles are doing. We got to be aggressive. We got to add. We got to find ways to bolster up. This defense played very well yesterday. We were rewatching the game, and I said it in our post-game show. I think the defense was just put in tough situations where the Vikings had short field due to special teams or turnovers. So even if we don't get a pass rusher, I need a starting offensive guard right now. But, hey, if we're calling the Titans, let's check in on Arden Key, who's still on a 1-year deal with them as well. Let's get a little 2-for-1 here. If I could bolster up some pass rush and make it even more deadly on defense, I'm all for it. 2025, $9.2 million is what the Tennessee Titans are paying Arden Key right now. Becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. And I don't know that he's considered a true rental player. I think he's a player we could re-sign in free agency for a fair price. Looking at his stats, he's only got 1.5 sacks on the season. That's great, because the Tennessee Titans are always playing from behind while other teams are trying to run the ball. So his pass rush stats are not going to be phenomenal when you're on a team that's one of the worst teams in the NFL, and in the fourth quarter, whoever they're going against is trying to just run the clock out. He's not going to have crazy sack stats. And I don't need him to even be the top 3 pass rusher on this team. Just come to the Detroit Lions. Let's bolster up this defense a little bit. But that number one priority for me has to be the offensive line right now. It's just everything runs through blocking. And I'm sorry if you guys don't agree, but that's just how football is. If you're not blocking anyone, you're not going to be successful. How can you block when the other team's playing in your backfield? How can you pass when Jared Goff's running for his life? How can you deep pass when you can't have time to let your players and your receivers like Jameson Williams get downfield long enough to get the ball out of your hands? Like, it starts with the building block of football is the trenches. If we're not winning up front, we're not going to win on the ground. We're not going to win in the air. It's going to be an ugly game, very similar to last game. Now, what happened yesterday is also a recipe for a lot of other teams to copycat. Heavy A-gap blitzes, pushing that pocket as fast as you can right back into Jared Goff's lap, because he doesn't have the mobility or the athleticism to get outside and extend a play for a crazy amount of time like the Josh Allens or most of the quarterbacks in the NFL. He just doesn't have it, and I'm not complaining. That's what we have. We've known that Jared Goff's been our guy for 5 years now. It's the tale as old as time. We know exactly what we're getting out of Jared Goff. We have to be able to block better. Brad Holmes, within the next 24 hours-ish, I need you to make a move for a offensive lineman at a bare minimum. Anything else on top of that is just cherry on top of the cake. But we need to find a a true starting guard. And honestly, if you guys have time for a conversation, we can talk about a left tackle because Taylor Decker didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. I know he's injured. I know he's battling through it. I know he's the old battle axe that's been the anchor on this team. He's been with us through the good times and the bad. He's the longest tenured Detroit Lion. I respect the hell out of him, but he's just not playing good football right now because of an injury. So if we can address that too while at it, hey, let's figure it out. Let's add a couple pieces to this team and go on a true Super Bowl run because this offense will be dominant if we can block better. I just need more consistency. I'm not hitting a panic button. I'm not selling my season tickets. The Detroit Lions still have all their goals ahead of them. I said it yesterday. We can still win the division. We can still get in the playoffs. We're still a scary ass team in this league. We just need a little help, Brad. Please go out and make a move that's going to help this team. In my opinion, that starts with offensive line, and anything else on top of that is just going to be gravy, baby. Hit that like button, hammer that subscribe button for us. Hit us with a follow on Spotify if you're watching while you're driving to work or in the mornings on your commute. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Me and Will be back later tonight with a joint show.